life-centered and life-giving. Now that might even mean having to sacrifice yourself. That's where the bravery thing comes in. Because what we're saying is courage is the opposite of fear. And in fact, if you look at all the things that put misery in your life, it's fear. Worry is fear. Anxiety is fear, obviously. Anger is fear. Frustration is fear. You look at it, they're all fear-based. So courage is the opposite of that. And what's the worst thing that could happen to you? Someone would say, well, lose my business, lose my marriage, lose my kids. Interesting enough, the more we fear it, the more we attract it. That's the catch. That's the universal law. The more we fear it, the more we attract it. Stop being worried. Relax. Enjoy your marriage. Enjoy your kids. Enjoy your business. Now, obviously, you've got to do that which needs to be done. But having done it to the best of your ability, that's it. There are times too, as a person of courage, of life-givingness, that you're going to have to tell people some things they don't particularly want to hear. As one sergeant major said to me in the army, John, the reason I kick your backside so thoroughly is because you're worth it. And I was a young fellow who did need his backside kicked a bit. So courage is not being touchy-feely all of the time. In fact, courage is gutsy stuff. And as I said, was often tested in times gone by acts of bravery in the hunting situation or the battle situation or some such. We move on then to the fact that in ancient times, in fact not so ancient, back in the Middle Ages, it was not enough just to prove that you had courage, you had to do it with honour. And indeed, Shakespeare said, above all, to thine own self be true. And then it must follow as the night and the day, thou canst not be false to any man. That's in play Hamlet, Polonius talking to his son Laertes, giving his son some advice. Above all else, to thine own self be true. Honour. Defined in the Oxford Dictionary as self-respect, respect for other people and respect for the environment at a spiritual level. We can respect a person even when we don't respect their behaviour. I had to remember that last year when I was working with street kids. It would be in my face, pushing all my buttons, and the trick was to see through all of that rubbish to the human being behind it, who was simply telling me his or her story. I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I don't know what I'm doing. It's all your fault. They're full of fear, these young people. So if I was going to come back with more fear to them, I'd busted it immediately. I'd broken the code of courage and I'd broken the code of honour. I met a young man who was in real estate. He was in his mid-20s and he was doing very, very well. He was working with a passion because the company that he was working with was trying to break the rental cycle by making it possible for people to get into a home on $500 deposit, which of course they could get out of bank card. So this young man thought that he had a mission to get people into their own homes, and he was selling these homes like hotcakes. The only problem was the company for which he worked was a sham, and his boss is now, I'm happy to say, in jail. However, when I met that young man about 2 years later, 2.5 years later, at a self-development conference, we were about to go in through the doors when he came up to me, greeted me, and he said, John, today is the first day of the rest of my life. I thought, gee, we haven't even gone through the doors yet, he's waiting for and stuff. And he said, no, he said, yesterday I paid back the last $500 deposit. I said, no, how on earth did you do that? He said, I have been working 2 to 3 jobs solidly for 2.5 years. But I said, no one demanded that you do that. What made you do that? He said, John, I'm now 28, and I'm going to live a long time, and I want to live with myself for the rest of my life. live with myself. And someone said, well, why don't you just play up when you're out on a business trip? Your wife will never know. Problem is, I will know. Can't hide. So what I'm just saying is that honour is something that is well and truly forgotten. We have people hiding under the Spanish government, finding it increasingly difficult. We have young people who are looking at politicians who are voting. We have young people who are looking at senior people in the legal profession, etc., who are not practicing honour, and they're very quick to point it out. So you tell me to lead a decent life. What are you demonstrating here, the so-called leaders of the country? Courage and honour are very demanding. And in times gone by, when you had proved that you had courage and honour, you were then called a gentleman or a gentlewoman. Gentlewoman was later shortened to lady. Nowadays we think the gentlemen and the ladies are in the back of the toilets at the end of the building. Perhaps we've missed something. Gentle in Old English means to ennoble. And what we as leaders, as gentlemen and gentlewomen, are here to lead, empower those around us. And that power comes from courage and honour. The symbol for it in medieval times was an mailed fist, a hand covered in chainmail with a velvet glove over the top. When they said you threw down your gauntlet, it means you took the glove off. Gauntlet was the old name for glove. You took the glove off and you put it on the ground, and there was a mailed fist. There was nothing touchy-feely here. It's tough. You have to be a really tough person. Reminds me a little bit of the Viking, and parts of Viking society were very, very civilized, contrary to their PR. And one the Viking was leaving on a trade mission. He was going to be away for about 5 years, and he said to his wife, who was very pregnant, that he said, when I come back, he said, I want you to build a church while I'm away. Just get on with it. And when I come back, he said, the first thing I will see is a church spire. And he said, I want to see, if it's a boy, he said, I want a square church spire, and there's a girl around the church spire. So then just watch his child again. When he came back, he saw the church had 2 spires. He had twins. That church still stands over 1,000 years later.